Okay, let's do one more demo. Cryostat 4.0 pre-release almost finalized. We're going to go ahead and create the Quarkus Pet Clinic test application. So the upstream Red Hat developer demos Quarkus Pet Clinic is a little out of date. It's still on Quarkus 2. something. There's a PR open to upgrade that to 3.8, but I've gone ahead and forked that and again further updated it to Quarkus 3.18. And then I've also gone ahead and added an extension to it, the new Quarkus JFR extension, as well as the Hibernate JFR optional dependency. And so what I want to do is import these YAML resources. So we're going to create first of all, a database deployment. This is basically just Postgres database with some settings we need. So we're going to create that first. The second thing is this definition of a job, which is basically just going to do some initialization on that database. And then we're going to add one more YAML, and this is the Quarkus Pet Clinic itself. So this is the actual application, the deployment with that container, and also a service to expose the traffic so we can get into that thing, create that. So those should be all, pretty much right away up and running. And then we also want to create a route so that I can show you that the Pet Clinic works. So let's go ahead and get started with creating a route here. It's taking it a moment for this to load. Okay, I'm not sure what's happening here. Let's go to the administrator view and try it from there. That should be doable. So I think we're in the correct project. Yes, we are. So let's create a route. So we're going to call this thing Pet Clinic, and it's going to route to the Pet Clinic service, and it's going to route to port 8080. We'll make it a secure route with, let's say, edge termination, insecure traffic, redirect. Certificates I think we can leave as default, and everything else should be okay. So let's go ahead and create that, and hopefully, so now visiting this route, we can see we have a Quarkus Pet Clinic. So let's leave that alone just for now. What we're going to do next is, as before, we're going to hop over to the deployment of the Pet Clinic, and I want to edit this deployment, spec template, metadata labels, and we're going to, once again, instrument this application with the Cryostat agent. So I would like to do this and be able to monitor and profile this application. So quickly and easily I add those labels, and our operator goes ahead and patches the deployment. And there we go, it's up and running. If we check the logs for our pod, we should see it's up and running. And we see we can pick up the Java tool options with the Cryostat agent, so it's running. Perfect. So with that, let's go over to our admin view, into Cryostat, and make sure we can see it. And as expected, we do see it. Perfect. So we're going to look next at the event types in this Pet Clinic application. As I was saying, I've added two things to this application. We have the Hibernate JFR optional dependency. Basically, this application being a Quarkus application, the Pet Clinic, it's using Panache for ORM, which is built on top of the Hibernate ORM. So we can add the Hibernate JFR dependency to our application class path. So basically I just put the Hibernate JFR dependency in the POM file, and that's it. And once that's done, the Hibernate JFR integration will just happen at startup. And so here we can see that the Hibernate events are registered with this application JVM. So we can query the JVM and say, what event types do you have? Do you have any that have the word Hibernate? And it does. It has 13 different kinds of them. So a whole lot of different database activity, persistence layer activity that's happening. We're going to be able to get JFR events telling us exactly what's happening for profiling at that level. So let's go ahead and create a recording that will capture those events. What we're actually going to do is not create the recording for that directly. we're going to use automated rules. So this is also a new feature coming in 4.0, Cryostat 4.0, is we have the automated rules that you see in the table here that ship with Cryostat. There's also a new capability for automated rules and their match expressions, which is this here, this JFR event type IDs. It's a function that's available that you can invoke within your match expression snippet. You pass in the target object and it returns back basically a list of strings where each string is a JFR event type ID. So actually let's go back to here and look at them. So your type IDs are these ones. So org.hibernate.orm.cache_get, for example, is one of your type IDs. So this list of 13 will show up when you use this expression. And then here we can do an existence check. So if there exists any X, where X starts with org hibernate ORM. So basically this is a Lambda expression with a predicate. And we know that in this particular test application that this condition will be satisfied. So if we enable this rule, what we should see is very quickly Cryostat determines that that rule does apply to that one target, and it starts recording. That will automatically begin capturing these Hibernate specific events, which I think is pretty cool. There's also these preset event templates. So these are meant to kind of go hand in hand with those automated rules. We have one for Hibernate, which is actually the one we just enabled. So we can see the template here was Hibernate. There's also a template Quarkus, which is also a preset event template. And so we can see that one here. We can also go ahead and create a recording, let's say manually with this one. So I'm going to call it Quarkus and have it run continuously with that Quarkus template. And let's go ahead and just create that. What that's going to do is, as I said before, this application, I added the Quarkus JFR extension to it. So if you add that extension, and if you're also using the Quarkus REST extension, which I think it's very likely that you are, and this pet clinic is using that, then anytime the Quarkus framework is servicing a request, it will start a JFR event, and then once it's sending a response back to the client, once it's basically finished servicing that request, it will populate the rest of that data, including the end time on that event, so that you can have duration data about what that event was. So now we have both those events running. We're going to be capturing both Quarkus and Hibernate events from this application. So let's go in here and start clicking around and doing things. So I'm going to add an owner. I'm just going to use myself. So there's my name. My address, let's say 100 East Davies Street in Raleigh. And the telephone, I'm not going to put my real phone number, 555-555-5555. Perfect phone number. Let's add myself in. Let's give myself a pet. I'm going to call my pet Corky. Corky was born, let's say 1 month ago, and is a cat. So there we go, we have my pet Corky, and we're going to take him to the vet today. So today is that date, and it's just a checkup. So let's say that, add visit. Okay, we've done that. Let's go ahead and just search, make sure I can show up. So I do show up. Let's see what veterinarians are available. There we go. Okay, so we've done some stuff. We've clicked around. We've made some activity. Hopefully that's going to show up in our data that we've been capturing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and download this recording. Okay, perfect. And now, if I say JFR summary downloads Quarkus.jfr, there it is. And we can see we had 10 different Quarkus events that showed up. We have 21 Hibernate events of different types here. And we have 9 of these, right? So we can see some different kinds of database activity and REST activity happening. And so we can really see if there's any hotspots in our code, things that are getting invoked more frequently than maybe we expected. We can use this data to get more details about it. Let's actually use the JFR print command. I need to remember how to do this. So JFR print help JFR print, events. So I want to see, let's say, the Hibernate ones. And again, downloads Quarkus.jfr. Okay, so now we can see more information about what those events were. We can see, for example, this JDBC prepared statement. We can see what the actual SQL query string was. We can see how long that took. We can see all kinds of information there about what kind of database activity we have in practice in our application. We can even see which thread ID is servicing these requests. Let's go ahead and see what Quarkus events information we can have. So we have REST events happening. We have a start time. We have duration. We can see how long it took. We also see trace IDs and span IDs, which I think is kind of interesting. Hopefully more around that. This context idea will develop further with JFR in the future, but we have the early inklings of it happening here. And then interestingly, I think we can also see the request method, but the URI and the class and the resource method. So we have some information here about the particular implementation details of what was actually happening. So this can help us, again, to try to profile our application and say, okay, we can maybe correlate that this process find form maybe seems like it takes longer than a lot of other requests do. So maybe we need to do some profiling in this area and figure out how to optimize this particular class and method. Okay, anyway, thanks for watching. That was about it. Have fun.